everybody. Thought I'd give you a little update on some of the things that have been in the works, some of the things that I've been working on, some of the things that I filmed, and then something didn't work with the film, so you don't get to see them. One of them was that turn signal on the Camaro got broken. Here's the old one. The lens cracked. That happened over storage in the winter time, and the guy that I store vehicles with is a gearhead from way back, and he takes care of all of our cars like he would his own, so this was by no fault of his. I showed up and it was broken, so maybe some water was in there, maybe it froze, I don't know. It's 21 years old, so. But anyway, ordered a new one, and you see that's right there. It's all installed. It's been installed for a little while. That was a video that for some reason it didn't record properly. But to get that out, we had to go down into there and work blind, because I didn't want to pull the headlights out and all that. And you see there's this brace that's in the way. And then the other part of that adventure, I put my hand in front of the camera, is I get up underneath here, you can see the underside of the vehicle is pretty much sealed, all of this. So I had to take all of that off, and that chin spoiler, and drop that whole corner down, because there was one connector. Let me see if I can stick my hand in front of the camera one more time. So the light goes in on top there. There's one. There's another one that snaps in there. And that right there, that clip, that one you can only get from the bottom. These other two, that one and that one over there, that wasn't too bad from the top. But then the whole thing, to take that out, it doesn't come out the front, because the bumper cover overlaps all of that. So you had to go out the back, and then a bunch of wiggle out the bottom, and then get the new one up in there without scratching it all up. So we did that. Just did, kind of the regular maintenance on the old girl. They said it's a 99. She's got collector plates on it now, so no more driving in January. It's never seen a snowflake. It doesn't do all that hot in the rain, much less snow. But yeah, so in here there's a reusable air filter, so I got that all scrubbed and re-oiled. And in here there's an airflow sensor here, and all this stuff was upgraded. This is all SLP stuff. There is a little bit of a lag in the acceleration, so cleaned out the airflow sensor, got the throttle body all cleaned up, and yeah, buried down in there, that is the LS1. And you can see how they got that weight distributed in there. They just shoved it about halfway under the dashboard like a van. So, been doing some work on this one. And if we walk over here and show you here, here is the ultrasonic parts washer. And you can see on the left side, that is the preheat and the temperature control. It's all in centigrade. So 50 degrees centigrade is where it kind of likes to live, and it seems to work really well. And then over here is the timer, and you can run it up to 30 minutes on a cycle. And then after that, you kind of let it sit and simmer for a while. Then you stir stuff up and go at it again if you want. The tank has got, this is where it looks like a fryolator. Right, you just got a basket, and you can use plain water. Plain water works great for delicate parts. Plain water works great for kind of a follow-up. What I've been using is some concentrated degreaser. The green stuff is okay to use on brass and such. That's what we used on the Rochester carburetor. This purple stuff, good for things like iron chains, or stuff that's doesn't contain soft metals. The mineral spirits just happen to be sitting over here. I can't imagine the calamity of heating up mineral spirits and then shaking the crap out of it. That would, I bet you that would void your warranty. And yeah, there's a stopcock on the side where you can drain it and save your juice. But really, I mean, you see how little is out of that bottle, and I've run that a half dozen times. All it takes is a splash in six. It's a 6-liter cleaner. Doesn't take much to do what it's got to do. Bring you over here. Hiding in shame in the bottom of this cabinet is the little Briggs. Got it back together yesterday. Put a intake spring in it, and once again, Video Gremlins got me on that. I'll show you a trick here in just a sec that I used on that motor, and it worked really, really well. It's got a spark. The carb's all cleaned out. New intake spring. Lapped the intake valve that was a little burnt. Hopefully that stops the blowback on the combustion cycle. That was always neat when you have flames shoot out the top of the carb. So we got that, and a new spring on the intake side to tighten that up. Got the valve lash set, and went to put it all back together, and I don't have the proper screws to hold the carb to the gas tank. So I got to take the tank down to friends at Hiller's and get some screws so the gas tank isn't loose. Safety. What were you saying? Oh yeah, odds and ends when it comes to, let me close this up so I got some more work. First off, let me show you this little tool here. This is a valve grinder that, you can tell by the box, this thing has a few years and a few projects on it. Get some light. This was my grandfather's, and I have done more valves with this thing than I can probably tell you. Did a whole flathead Ford with this thing. And it's a pretty clever gizmo. It's all analog. I don't have my stand out here with me, so I'm not sure how I'd prop you up to show you how that actually works. But here's the theory. There's put one of these shafts on there so that you can work on the valves, and on the ends of those you put a suction cup. And that suction cup grabs a hold. Here's a valve out of a flathead. It grabs this, okay? And what we're interested in is that valve seat right there, that chamfered edge, and that's what seals. That's to the valve seat that's in the head, okay? So what the tool does is you mix up a concoction of, I know different guys use different stuff. I kind of like polishing compound with a little bit of automatic transmission fluid in it. for a lube, and it makes kind of a slurry, kind of a paste. And you put that on there, and you set this down into the head so that in between that camphor on the valve and the valve seat that's in the head, you have that abrasive. And then using this, you got to put the handle on it, and you turn it, and it's got a ratchet. And it says here on the box, reciprocating, meaning spins, and progressive. And it's the coolest thing, because what it'll do is it'll turn, it'll go click, 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 and then it'll go 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And it just, you don't have to change the direction of the handle. You just turn it, and it's tick, 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 and it kind of goes around and around and around and around and around and around and around. And you do that until you can't stand it anymore, and then you're halfway done. So did that on the little Briggs and really got that intake seat cleaned up to where I was pretty happy with it. If that hadn't done the trick, well, then you get into some pretty heavy stuff. This and this. So what this does is the tool's got these carbide cutters on it, and that goes down into the cylinder head. And this, they have different sized guides depending on the diameter of the valve shaft, right? And so that keeps everything centered. And then what you do is you lap that valve seat to cut any glazing off. If they got really cooked, if they got really hot, you can glaze those, deglaze rather. It's a tricky dance because you don't have a lot of work with. I mean, you're just talking about taking off, you know, a thou, you know, just to take that surface down. And then this doodad here, trying to do this all one-handed, but this is for doing the same idea as this, but this cuts the bottom edge of the valve itself, so it trues that back out. So if you really got into it, on engines, certainly the old stuff. I mean, we're talking the stuff that I was grinding valves on. I was a 36 Ford. It's kind of tough to just go down to the store and, you know, buy valves. Use that camera work. So yeah. So once again, that last tool I just showed you, here's it looks like it's off of some big lawnmower or something. But you see that edge is all carboned up. Camera cooperates. Yeah, that's that silver right between the cooked off black carbon and the edge. That's what that last tool I showed you would clean up. Oh, here, real quick while we're here. So this is the old intake spring off the Briggs, and it's pretty weak. I shouldn't really be able to compress it quite that much with just a couple fingers, but it was only a couple bucks down the road. One of the tricks is to get, there's a retaining lock in here, and when you're working on cars, or even like some of the newer motors with the overhead valves, like the Honda style lawnmower engines, it's a lot easier to get a spring compressor in there, which is basically a tool that's got a couple of forks on it that grab the edge of this, and it squishes down, and it allows you to put, you know, so here's a valve, obviously not to scale, but there's a clip here, okay, and that holds the spring tension. Well, it's really tricky, and I've seen them, but I don't own one. They make valve compressors for small engines. Usually if you try to use one that's for a standard automobile or a car engine kind of thing, it doesn't even fit. So a real neat trick that works is, now you got to be careful, but what you do is you compress the spring, especially if it's, that one's pretty weak. That one I did with my fingers. This one, that's out of a car. You can see that's not even moving hardly. Or maybe that's out of one of those big Mamu snowblower motors or something. Anyway, what you can do is you compress that in a vise and you put a couple zip ties on it. And it holds the spring down. You set it into the motor, hold it up, put your locking clip on it, and clip, snip those wire ties out of there, and it's in. Honest to God, if I had known that 30 years ago, putting these, I'd have one of these things apart seemed every other day. And yeah, there's ways to do it, but that was the neatest little trick with a couple of wire ties, and you can make that happen. What else do we have going? So yeah, it's just been a lot of odds and ends, guys. Haven't filmed all of it, and the stuff that I did film didn't all work out. So I'm in the process of doing some reorganization. Shop downstairs is an absolute mess. So I've been doing a lot of body work. Picked this up the other day for something I'll show you here as we're wrapping up. It's a little belt sander. It's pneumatic, and this angle is adjustable, so you can get that in all little crevices and everything else. I wanted one of those for a while, and I finally had the job that required it. So yeah, just air tools and body tools in here as I've been working through that. Oh boy, here's another one. Remember when we killed that grinder? Yeah, I did buy another one. This is a Bauer. It's from Freight. Looks a lot like that other red tool company. But I came down to the thing again. I'm not making a living doing this stuff, folks, but I wanted a good tool, and this was in the budget. What I really liked is this has a trigger, and that's a lock on the side rather than that sliding thing on the top. This is so controllable. The handle is wonderful. You can hold on to this. It's not this big whomping thick thing that's hard to handle. This has been a really great tool, and I've really put it through its paces the last few weeks. That's the Bauer. So let's wrap up over here. And here's kind of where I'm at today. I'm not gonna try filming, and my welding it's getting better, but it's not great. But this is the front bed panel from my 49 Chevy, and this whole bottom edge, let me see if I can spin it around here. This whole bottom edge was really chewed up and kind of rotted out, and I went through and I tried welding all those holes shut, and it just kept burning out. So instead, I had a friend of mine works auto body. He made me this angled patch, and it's longer. It's 50 inches long. I could buy 48 inch at the store, but I couldn't get 50, and I wanted it to be one piece. So he cut and bent that for me so it fits in there, and then you'll see I put in, see if I can get you around this side, there you go. I put in this rolled lip that's going to follow right along here, and then this will be welded all the way down. And I've started to clean up my welds here. I've still got to do that down there and then weld this edge. So that'll be a couple days of welding. I don't have this set up to be able to record welding. I have no idea what that would do to this phone. And then here is the other bit. This is when I discovered that my glazing putty had stopped being glazing putty. I got to replace that. But this is the tailgate. And been doing a lot of work to even that out. And you know what happens with these is these were farm trucks. These, you know, now these old trucks are really collectible. And I guess I was really ahead of the game in the early 90s. I bought this in 93. But, you know, they're really collectible. But that's only been the last few years. These were work trucks. And there's few of them around because people didn't save them. Why would you? It was your work truck. And, you know, you can see here, there's some pocks and some dents, and I'm starting to straighten that back out again. But, you know, you're throwing rocks and branches and God knows what in the back of your truck, you don't really care. Well, I'm trying to get it a little bit better. So I got this one pretty well cleaned up. I got a lot of my patches done. Got a shot of primer on it, so now I can see, you can see some of those darker spots like there. Those are shallow, but they're imperfections like this here. So once I get a new tube of glazing putty, we'll glaze those and then start blocking it down. And yeah, you can see there's some stepping on here from the old paint, so that's got to come down. And it's putsy stuff that'll drive you nuts if you let it. So that's where we're at, folks. A lot of kind of at work. I'm going to be coming back pretty soon with some organizational stuff. And I want to talk to you about kind of workflow and how you're setting up shop. This is in transition right now for that same reason, and I'm not going to even show you what it looks like downstairs because I don't even want to think about it right now. But we've got a plan, we've got a vision, and we're going to get there. So, all right, that gets you up to speed, and we'll catch you soon. We'll do something interesting. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff down there. Be safe out there. Peace.